Hello everyone, this is Kaylee with Needle Felted Fuzzies, and today I'm going to be showing you how to make a little cactus. And the cactus all come out a little bit differently, but this is the sample that we're going to use. And this here is what the kit looks like. It's almost done. I still have to put the stickers on and things, but couldn't wait to do this video for you. So here we go. Inside we're going to have an instruction card. We're going to have a needle felting pad and a couple of needles. And we're also going to have all of the wool that you're going to need, along with a terracotta pot. Now this is important because that's how we put all the little cactus pieces together. But if you have a different kind of pot that you want to use, that's fine, go ahead and do that. I do give you enough wool to more than fill the little pot. So we're going to go ahead and take that out. Take out the brown wool, the green for the cactus, and the purple for the flower if you so choose to put one on. And we're going to put this over to the side. And we are on Facebook Live right now. Once this video is complete, I will be downloading it and putting it on my website, needlefeltedfuzzies.com. So I hope you'll join me there. Alright, so let's get started. If you don't know what needle felting is, it's when you take this specialized needle and you stab some wool into shape, and then you get these 3D creations. So we're going to make something similar to this, but I'm going to make one big cactus instead for this one. So I'm going to flip the mat around. I'm using this big mat, it's a little bit easier to see, but if you have a different mat, and like you saw the one in the kit, any kind of foam will do, even a kitchen sponge. But if you want to use something else, go right ahead. The most important thing is that you're not stabbing the table, because if you stab the table, you're not really stabbing the wool, because it needs to go all the way through. The needles have little hooks at the tip, and that's what catches the fibers and hooks them together. Alright, so we'll keep this one out here, and we'll start by putting the cactus pot in front of us, and we're going to take a little bit of the brown wool. I like to start with just a little bit and stuff that down at the bottom. And then take my needle and just kind of go around, really press it down, kind of go sideways a little bit. If you go in with the needle and turn as you're coming out, as this gets stiffer, you will break your needle, so just a word of warning with that. Don't do that too much. You can hold it down with your finger. Just start stabbing. It's not really going to firm up that much because you are hitting the bottom of the pot, but as long as you get it started, that's what I found to be the most helpful. So we're going to put another piece in, just push it down there with your finger, just watch out. If you have something else that you want to hold it down with, that's fine. Might help out a little bit. Okay, so we're turning, we're stabbing. When I do this live in class, it takes about 2 hours. And I go through all the instructions, and we go through each piece, and I make sure to come around and help. But for right now, I'm going to go a little bit of a faster pace. So as a reminder, once this is after we're done with the live, this video will go on the website, needlefeltedfuzzies.com/video-instructions. You can just go to needlefeltedfuzzies.com and click on video instructions right on the home page too. And then you can go at your own pace. You can pause, you can stop, you can rewind, anything you need. So we've got 3 pieces in there now. You can still see it's pushing down, it's condensing quite a bit. So I'm going to keep going, because what we're looking for is something like this. I don't glue mine in, but you can if you want to. But you can see that even this has a little bit of give, but not this much. So I know that we need to keep going. So we're going to keep stabbing. I'm pushing it down with my finger, I'm stabbing, I'm turning. Okay. There we go. It's starting to firm up here. Okay, one more piece. I like to always leave a little bit extra just in case. So I'm going to put this in. Now you can make the soil go down below the pot's lip as much as you want. You can kind of see this one is about even with the top. If you want to make it a mound, go right ahead. This part's kind of, up to you, as it all is. Needle felting is a great hobby. It's not that expensive. You don't need a lot of materials. You don't need a lot of space. And the wool is very forgiving. So if I didn't like this, I could pull this apart right now and start over. Now you can see this first piece is very fuzzy. So sometimes I do like to pull it out and just kind of stab it back into the rest, just to make it a little bit more firm like this one. For the purposes of this video, I'm not going to make it that smooth, but just to show you, that can be done. And you can hear it kind of start to crunch. That means it's starting to get more dense. And I'm not stabbing all the way down to the bottom. I'm only stabbing through that first couple of layers. Okay, turn some more, and you don't want to make it too tight either, because when you add the green wool to this, you do want it to be a little forgiving. Otherwise, if it's too firm, it won't take that new wool. So I'm going to get up and just check my camera since this is the first time I'm using a setup. Can everybody hear me? Excellent. We're looking good here. Okay. So now comes the fun part. We're making the cactus. I'm going to put this extra wool aside, put my mat back in front of me, and take my green wool. And all the wools that I buy are hand dyed, so they all come out a little bit different. So this one's a little bit darker than this one. It might be a different batch, or it might be a different color, Kelly green versus heather green, or something like that. But this is what we're starting with. I'm actually going to break this in half, because I like working with smaller pieces. The smaller the piece, the tighter you can roll it, the less stabbing you'll have to do. And I'm going to do what we call the basic roll. And this works for pretty much everything that we do in needle felting in order to get something round, like a cat body or a cactus or pretty much everything. So I'm going to do this a couple of times. So I'm starting with the fiber. I'm sitting here and this is away from me. So I'm putting the long piece so that it points away from me. I'm going to start near me, going to fold, and then I'm going to roll a little bit. Okay, then I'm going to take this side and roll it in. Now a lot of times we'll roll this side in too, but because I'm stabbing it into this, I know this piece is going to connect here, I'm leaving that piece fuzzy so that this will connect to here much easier. Okay, so I'm rolling it down, then I'm going to roll very tightly. I'm actually using the mat to pull against, so it's nice and tight. I'm going to end up with something that looks kind of like this, and then I'm going to start stabbing. Okay. Stab, 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 turn. That's the credo. Turn a little bit. Stab, stab, stab. Turn. Stab, stab, stab. Turn. We're going to do this just for a couple of minutes. I'm staying kind of in the center here. I'm not touching the fuzzy end. I'm not touching this end yet. Okay, stab, stab, stab. And you won't hear this because I don't need to go all the way into the wool, into the pad. But I do need at least this part to go through the fibers so that it does everything. So it stabs everything and all the little pieces here are starting to take shape. Okay? So if I'm pinching this end, it's going to get a little bit smaller here than it will up here. And that's kind of what I'm going for. I'm going for this like bigger bulbous type shape. Okay, so turn, stab, 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 turn, stab, 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 turn. And now for this part here, this is going to be the top of the cactus. So I'm going to use my needle and I'm going to use my fingers, whatever, and just stab that into a ball shape. So this top part here is going to be curved. Now if I just stab straight down into it, it's going to flatten out. So what you need to do is move your needle with the shape of the cactus. So, and I always stab into the pad, but this is just to show you. Okay, so I'm stabbing at an angle because I want this to curve. So stabbing at an angle. Here I was stabbing straight down, and here I'm going to stab at an angle, turning, stabbing, turning, stabbing, angle. Okay. Now for the cactus, a lot of times we'll keep going. We'll keep stabbing this till it's nice and firm. But for the cactus, I want to add these little lines in here to make it have some texture. So I'm actually going to stop really felting here, and I'm going to start making those little indents. So I'm going to kind of guide my needle down one straight line. And it's okay if it looks very pokey because it's a cactus and it's supposed to be. And they do not need to be straight lines either. Okay, so what I like to do is here and then go down the opposite way. So you can see I'm not pulling my needle all the way out, I'm just kind of gliding it along the surface, kind of at an angle. I'm giving it a little bit more pressure than I was, but not enough to make it break. You might see it bend a little bit, back off, because if you keep making it bend, it will break. Each kit comes with 2 needles. If you need extra needles, you can contact me. I can supply some for you. You can go to Michael's craft store. They do sell the needles. No other craft store I've found has them. Or you can go on Etsy. These are 36 gauge triangle needles. And what that means is 36 gauge thickness. And then the piece here that actually has the needles is actually a triangular shape. There's 3 different sides. And where those 3 sides come together, that's where the hooks are cut into it. So 36 gauge triangle shape needle. This is like the number 2 pencil of the needle felting world. Okay, so you can see this starting to come together. I've got 1, 2, 3. So now I've got to do this space here. And you can do as many or as few as you want. If you're not getting this nice indentation, it probably means that you stabbed the cactus too much, which is fine, just you gotta work on it a little bit harder in order for it to show. Even this one, you can see it was still a little loose, but I didn't get a very firm line in there. And that might be because I've been carting it around with me for about a year to all my classes. So it's probably frayed out a little bit. But you can still see it and it still looks nice. So I'm actually kind of using my left hand because I'm right-handed, so I'm stabbing with my right hand. I'm squeezing the 2 sides here just to help it get in there a little bit. So I'm kind of going over these again, squeezing, turning, squeezing, turning, squeezing. Okay. And now, you notice I didn't do all the way to the top because I'm actually going to put a flower on here. So I'm going to put this aside. I'm going to take my purple and I'm going to do some kind of flower. So there's a million different ways to do flowers with needle felting. For something like this, what I like to do is start with little pieces and just kind of roll it in my hand. This also starts the needle felting process, so you can see it's much firmer, much more dense. And I'm going to pull this out a little bit, roll that one, and it's probably a little too much for this, but that's okay. I'm going to cross them. I'm going to stab in the middle here. Now I'm going to pick my cactus back up, put this right there, stab it right onto the top. Now you can see it's a little bit longer than something like that, so I'm actually just going to pull some of the points off. And then you can roll it in your fingers. And if you want to add some more, you can see I give you plenty. Okay, I'm actually going to use the pieces I just pulled off to kind of lay that in here too. Roll that one. Maybe put that one right there. Carefully stab it in. Okay. Putting that one into place. Maybe make that come up right in the center. Alright, and just kind of fluff it up a bit. I usually find the cactus flowers kind of go over to the side. So there you go. Now I can kind of put the mat aside. I'm going to move this out of the way. And now we can attach. So what we're going to do is firmly press, not too hard, but definitely not too loose. I'm going to go at an angle. Okay, you probably can't see that side, but let me get this attached here a little bit. And then as I turn it here, I can show you from the front. I'm just going at an angle right where the soil meets the cactus. I'm going to stab it basically like a 45-degree angle. Okay, and all those little fibers will be tucked underneath. And as it starts to come together and get a little bit firm, you can push it down a little bit harder. Turn, stab, turn, stab. And if you wanted to make something more like the sample where it has 3, I'll show you how to make a little bit longer of a piece really quickly. But that's the basic concept. Now we can go back and kind of remove some of the extra fuzz, do any more tweaks you want. If it's leaning over, you can keep stabbing. You can add more lines. You can do whatever you want, but how cute is that? And if you wanted to also, you could take a little piece of the brown or the green, roll it in your fingers, and maybe put it right in the center of that flower just to give it a little bit more character and definition. Okay, so now if you want to just make these straight lines, what we want to do is take the rest of your green and do the basic roll again. So we're starting it away from you, fold. Okay, so I'm folding it a little bit, and then I'm going to roll, roll, roll. And this time I am going to bring in the fibers from this side and this side just to make it even. But when I'm stabbing it, I'm going to stab just straight across. I'm not really going to worry about it. Now I'm going to roll it in my hands, and that will help bring it apart a little bit because you can still see it's a little bit thicker on one end than the other. But what I'm going to do is take this side, the top side, and instead of making that nice big arch, I'm just going to stab the top and then stab it flat. Okay, and you can see this longer piece that I had is making something short and stubby. Now it is even, but it is kind of short and stubby. So if you wanted to make something longer, you start with a piece that's longer this way, wider, and then roll it like that. Okay, but basically you do the same thing and you make those indents, and there you go. So now you have an idea of how to make the cacti. If you'd like a kit or if you'd like to do a class, let me know and I will put together something so that I can get it to you guys as soon as possible. Have a good night.